Jeff, you can hear me okay? Thank you for coming out on this cold January day. This is the time of year when we really separate the men from the boys. If you come out on 30-degree weather with icy surfaces, you got a lot of credit. So thank you for making the trek. We are going to finish up Birchat HaShchar this morning. I can tell you personally that I have found the past couple of weeks to be very enriching. The depth of understanding that we've been able to bring to our appreciation for the morning blessings have just really enhanced my own personal prayers. I hope it's done the same for you as well. Last week, or 2 weeks last week? No, I canceled the class last week. 2 weeks ago when we were learning, we focused on basically the last couple of blessings that focus specifically on the Jewish people. We talked about Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura, Oter Yisrael B'Sifara, and we're up to right now the last blessing before that big paragraph, Hanosein Layav Koach. So if you're using the Art Scroll Siddur, I'm on page 20. And I'd like to begin by asking a basic question. I'd love to hear your ideas. The third to last blessing, I'm going to consider Hanosein Layav Koach as the last blessing. The third to last blessing, Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura, who girds Israel with strength. Sounds very similar to me to the last blessing, Hanosein Layav Koach, who gives strength to the weary. What's the difference? Obviously, when the rabbis were crafting these blessings, they did so deliberately. They didn't just say, hey, we like synonyms, so we'll have multiple blessings essentially say the same thing. Clearly, there's a difference in the meaning of the blessing. So my question to you this morning is, what is the difference? Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura, who girds Israel with strength. And the last blessing, Hanosein Layav Koach, who gives strength to the weary. Isn't it the same thing?
No.
So what's the difference?
Well, I just think it's a mistranslation because Gevura is more than strength.
Gevura is more, what is Gevura?
It's more heroism or overcoming.
Okay.
Overcoming weakness.
Overcoming weakness. Beautiful. We're going to talk. Okay, beautiful.
The Bible overcomes for us, it's still Gevura.
Okay, excellent. So Judy is first of all noticing that the Art Scroll translates both words the same way. Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura, who girds Israel with strength, and Hanosein Layav Koach, who gives strength to the weary. While it's the same English word, the Hebrew word is different. One word is Gvura, one word is Koach. You would, I think, translate in English the words to be similar, but I think you would say strength to both, but we have to figure out the deeper meaning beyond strength.
It's God who's exercising the Gevura.
Okay.
Whereas in this case, he's only giving Israel.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting observation. Dr. Nemzer, what were you going to say?
Mighty warrior. A gibor.
Gibor is a mighty warrior. Okay. But what defines a mighty warrior, if not his strength? At first glance. So you're just using different words to essentially describe the same phenomena. So let's figure this out. I just want to first note that this last blessing of Hanosein Layav Koach is not found anywhere in the Gemara. We've pointed out that the lion's share of the blessings that we have been learning, the Birchat HaShchar, find their origin in the Gemara Brachos, which we have looked at on a number of different occasions. 3 of the blessings come from the Gemara Menachos. This blessing of Hanosein Layav Koach is actually a later addition, either by the Gaonim or perhaps beyond that. So this blessing does come afterwards from a historical point of view, but that does not answer the question. Because why would the rabbis choose to add on an additional blessing if it was already included in something earlier? So I want to share with you a couple of different perspectives on this question, and by differentiating this blessing from the one that came before it or two before it, we'll also be able to understand more about the depth of this blessing. So I am very pleased to present The first approach, based on something Rabbi Soloveitchik wrote. In source number 1, Rabbi Soloveitchik wrote an article called Catharsis. It was printed in Tradition in 1978. If you open up the 1978 edition of Tradition, which is the scholarly journal put out by the RCA, the Rabbinical Council of America, so in 1978, all of the articles are written by the Rav. One of them is called Catharsis. So listen to what he says over here in source number 1. Among the several benedictions comprising the Birchat HaShchar, right, that's the group of blessings that we're learning about, we have been learning about, which we pronounce daily, thanking the Almighty for restoring us each morning to a full and active life, we recite 2 benedictions which, prima facie, appear to be synonymous and therefore redundant. One benediction reads, Ozer Yisrael Bigvura, which is, remember, girds Israel with strength. And the other, Hanosein La Yaif Koach, who gives strength to the weary. So the Rav wants to understand what's the need, why is there a need for 2 different blessings. So I'm giving you just snippets. This is not read straight. I picked out different parts of the article to bring to your attention. So listen to the next paragraph. What does Koach mean? Koach denotes any aptitude which God has bestowed upon man at birth. The term koach denotes primarily physical strength, the capability of performing work which requires an unusual amount of physical vigor. This is the dominant meaning of the word in the Bible. So koach essentially refers to physical strength. Koach refers to physical strength. Koach as such is not an exclusively human category, since it is related in most of its aspects to man's capabilities as a natural being. The beast shares with man all his organic aptitudes. Thus, the category of koach is applicable to man and beast alike. Koach is not a unique gift bestowed by the Creator upon man. It is rather an integral part of the unbroken, uniform functionality of a natural universe. Essentially, we are strong. It happens to be there are other animals that have koach far more than we do. Bears and lions and tigers, not in that order of course, are stronger than we are mightier than we are, but human beings do share the characteristic of koach, of physical prowess. Gvura, though, the Rav is going to go on to say, is markedly different. Gvura is the ability to overcome those natural animalistic tendencies. Look what the Rav writes in the last paragraph. What is Gevura? Gevura, in contradistinction to Koach, is an exclusive grant of God to man, which demonstrates the latter's unique position in creation, man's charismatic endowment and his chosenness. Man as a brute existing in the realm of immediate mechanical, uninterrupted life functions was furnished with koach. Man as a personality, distinct and different from the beast and fowl of the field, who confronts nature in a reflective, inquisitive mood, possesses the quality of gevura. This he shares with no one. What a beautiful analysis, right? Beautiful. I would, as I said before, encapsulate that idea that Gvura is the ability to transcend over the animalistic desires that we are all endowed with, that we share with all of the world. All beings, all animals share certain desires, the need to eat, the need to procreate, and other desires as well. We have those qualities. Koach, their strength. Gvura, the ability to reign over those qualities. And that is something uniquely given to the Jewish people. Yes, it's true the Umos HaOlam have the ability, but Jews strive, Jews excel, I should say, in this area, which is why we say, Ozer Yisrael Bigvura, right? Hanosein La Yaif Koach. That does not reference any Jewish characteristic, because koach is shared by beasts alike, and certainly all human beings have physical prowess. But gevura, the strength to overcome those animalistic tendencies and desires, that is really where the Jew excels. Anna, were you going to say something?
It's like conquering the Yetzer Hara.
Exactly, and that leads me beautifully to source number 2. Ezehu Gibor, right? Doesn't this read so beautifully now? What is a Gibor? Ask the Mishnah Avos. What is the definition of somebody who exerts power over his animalistic tendencies and desires? Hakovesh es Yisro. That's a person who's able to conquer his desire. That is the paradigmatic Gibor in Jewish thought. Shne'emar, as the verse in Proverbs reads, Tov erech apayim. It is better for a person to be able, or I should say it's more impressive for a person to be slow to anger, mi Gibor umoshel berucho. No, I'm sorry, mi Gibor, from a regular person with strength, umoshel berucho, and a person who is a ruler over his spirit, milikod ir. I'm sorry, I didn't include the last word. Someone who can conquer his spirit is more impressive than someone who can conquer a city. So you see from this verse in Proverbs that we value, right? We are more impressed with people who can control themselves rather those people who use their physical might. Now you might say that this would have worked beautifully if the verse would have read Torah erech apayim mikoach. It uses the word gibor here in terms of physical strength, but I think you understand the general picture. Yes, were you going to say something, Judy?
The word of the day, I might say the ability to overcome.
Overcome. Like come here.
Today being Martin Luther King Day.
Very good. Okay, excellent. I thought you were talking about coming to shul when it's so icy outside. Okay, beautiful. So that's one interpretation. I think really a very beautiful interpretation. Ozer Yisrael b'gvura and hanosein la yav kawach. I would point out, though, it's a little bit funny that we first give thanks for that which is more impressive and then kind of go back and give thanks for that which is less impressive. They're both necessary, but if I was constructing an order of the blessings, I would have assumed that we would first say, Hanosen laif kawach, thank you Hashem for giving me my physical prowess, my strength, and then Ozer Yisrael b'gvura, and give me the ability to rule over that. That would have been a more intuitive list. However, I think the easy answer, as I mentioned before, is this bracha was added on later. So the rabbis first want to go through all of the blessings which are found in the Talmud. After that's finished, we add on this blessing of Hanosen le'av koach, even though it intuitively, logically should have come earlier in the list. So far, so good?
There's mental, there's physical. The one that's
Right.
mental is harder.
Right, but I understand, but that's why I would have put the physical one first, because you usually go in ascending order of what we're thankful for, of what's harder to achieve.
But the mental should come first because it's harder.
No, but I think as a general rule, when you give thanks, you usually work up to the things which you're most thankful for. Because if you say I'm thank you for everything, then why are you delineating? You already said everything, so you usually try to lead up. Either way, I think the easy answer is that this was a bracha that was added on later. And therefore it comes a little bit out of order from this perspective at least. So that's a beautiful insight from the Rav, the difference between koach and gvura, and I'm sure you could find other sources that underscore this very idea. Okay, let's move on to another idea. This is one that's referenced by Rabbi Schwab. I'm going to present 3 different ideas for the bracha of Hanosen le'av koach. The first one, Rabbi Soloveitchik, the next one from Rabbi Schwab, and the third will be from the Baruch Shema Rabbi Epstein. So Rabbi Schwab points out in his Sefer Iyun Tefillah that the language of the bracha, Hanosen la'ya'iv koach, that God gives the tired strength, is actually language that comes from a verse in Isaiah chapter 40, Yeshayahu Perek Mem. The verse is there to be read in source number 3. Nosein la ya'ef kawach, who gives the tired strength, ula'ein onim atzma yarbeh. And to him who has no strength, he increases strength. So our language of Hanosen le'av koach is really an exact quote from the verse in Isaiah. So what exactly does this verse in Isaiah mean? Because if we have a better understanding of this verse, we'll understand what the rabbis intended when they copied the words and put it in the form of a blessing in our siddur. So what is Yeshayahu referring to when he says that God gives the tired strength, and to him who has no strength, he increases strength? So if you look at the Malbim on the next page, if You turn the page. Source number 4, the Radak writes as follows. No, sorry, I said Malbim. Let's look at the Radak first in source 4. No sein la ya'if kawach, v'hu yitain kishayirtze koach v'atzuma liyisrael. God, when He desires, will give power and strength to the Jewish people. Shehem bigalos, that they are in exile, v'ya'afim v'geim me'ein onim, and they are tired and they are wearied without any strength. Essentially, Yeshayahu is prophesizing a time when the Jews will be very, very weary of a very long galus, and Yeshayahu says, don't worry, it's going to be a schlepped out galus, a schlepped out time of exile, but the Almighty will bless you with an endurance, an ability to withstand all of the trials and tribulations of the exile. And that's what the Radak says. No sen layav koach, Hashem will give you strength in the exile to persevere. It's an idea that is echoed in the Malbim in source number 5. No saying layav kawach Yisrael shehem ayefim ata. The Jewish people who are right now, they're tired, they're weary. Yitin lahem kawach, Hashem will give them strength. So this idea fits more precisely in the order of the blessings, because the last couple of blessings, as I said, focus on the Jewish people. If we take the Radak and the Malbim's understanding, then it is a blessing that's still focused on the Jewish people. Even though it does not say the words Yisrael, Hanosein li Yisrael kawach, there is not a need for that, because the verse where the pasuk comes from, the verse where the blessing comes from, is a verse that speaks of the Jewish people. So it's self-evident. They didn't have to write Yisrael, because look in the pasuk in Yeshayahu, look at the verse in Isaiah. It's talking about the Jewish people. And it's a blessing that the Jewish people should have the strength and the ability to persevere through the long days ahead. Rabbi Schwab writes that the members of the he might even write the Savoraim. The Savoraim were the rabbis that, the category of rabbis that lived after the Siyum HaTalmud, after the Gemara was closed, before the Gaonim. So we're talking around the year 500 or so until around the year 800, give or take. There are no perfect markers as it comes to Jewish history. It's not like there's a line that says up to here are Savoraim, and then this point are the Gaonim. But from the Siyum HaTalmud, from the time of the closing of the Talmud until the time of the Gaonim, that's the Savoraim. So I think Rabbi Schwab writes it's either the Savoraim or the Gaonim who instituted this bracha, and they foresaw that this exile was going to last for a long time. So they added in a bracha and they said, Hashem, you should continue to give the Jewish people the strength, the ability to persevere and not get weary through this long exile. And it's an important blessing to have in mind. And that works nicely though, because it's related to Jewish people. And we're coming off of two blessings that directly speak of Am Yisrael. Okay, so that's perspective number 2. We had Rabbi Soloveitchik's perspective, the difference between Koach and Gvura. We have Rabbi Schwab's perspective that it's a blessing for the Jewish people to endure the long exile. And lastly, I would say on the simplest level, we have Rabbi Epstein in his Sefer Baruch She'amar in source number 6, who also has a very interesting observation. And his point of departure is simply a very basic question. If you think about it, the blessing, Hanosein la yaif koach, that Hashem gives the tired strength. When should we say that blessing? Put aside everything I've just said, but from the Rav and Rabbi Schwab. Think about it on a basic level. Hashem, thank you for giving the tired strength. You know when we should say that? At 7:30 every night. When we schlep Bob, when I call Bob and I say, Bob, you're number 10, and Bob has to schlep azoi, put on his coat and schlep to the minyan, and he's tired from a long day, you should say, Hanos and Layiv Kayach, Baruch Hashem, you give the weak, not weak, God forbid, but the tired, you give the tired strength, right? When I text Jed, you're number 10, we need to come down. That's the time to say, Hanos and Layiv Kayach. At night, after a long day, not in the morning. Why in the morning? We've already given a bracha for waking up. Hanosim lasachvi vina. Hashem, thank you for allowing the rooster to differentiate between night and day. You woke me up. I'm already up. I've already put on all my clothes. I thanked Hashem for my shoes and my belt and my hat. I've already done that all. So what's this bracha coming here at the end of the list, at the top of the day? Right? So what's the meaning of the bracha?
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to getting tired.
Strength to get through the
Making
day.
it through the day.
Well, but then we're not ayef as of yet.
No, but you know that you will be.
You know that you will be. Okay, I hear that. I hear that, Anna.
It's a national level that you're tired of being persecuted
Well-
and be chased.
So I think that's correct, but that really relates to Rabbi Schwab's perspective, that it's going on the long exile that we have been schlepping ourselves through. But that's Rabbi Schwab's perspective. So the Baruch Shamar is saying, just as a practical level, this bracha should have been either it should be, say, at night, or at very least it should be in the first part of the blessings, where we're thanking God for just kind of waking up. We're still like kind of weary-eyed, waking up. Okay, I know sin le'ev koach. But it comes at the end of the blessings. I already put on my clothes. I'm ready to go. So look what the Baruch Shama writes in source number 6. Ein mevuar inyan bracha zu. It's not clear to me the meaning of this bracha. V'shayachos shala leBirchat HaShchar. What's it doing in the morning blessings? V'yoser haya naus la b'layla la'achar vodas hayom. When would this bracha have been more appropriate? At night, after you've worked a full day. Kol achad b'shalo. Everybody will say when they get home from work. V'ulai b'hoda zu. So Rabbi Epstein suggests that perhaps with these words of thanks, kilula ga me'ein tefila shitin koach le'ayef ba'avodas hayom ha'holech. Maybe you're referencing yesterday. Ba'avodas hayom ha'holech. What does the word ha'holech mean? That it already went. Meaning, right, that it already traveled. You're giving thanks for the fact that you were able to survive yesterday.
So why is it in the present?
So Hanosen Layaf, Hashem, yesterday I was tired. You're saying it should be phrased in the past. Right? Haholich, right? Hamaschales mi boker hayom. The work that starts from the very early hours of the day.
It's going to be this day.
So maybe I'm misreading it. So let me read it again. V'ulai b'hodazu kilula gam ein tefila shitin koach le'ayef ba'avodas hayom ha'holech. I read ha'holech means as like it already went, but you're suggesting that ha'holech means that's about to happen. Hamascheles niboker hayom. That starts from the morning. Okay, you know what? I must have misread it when I was preparing it. I think you're correct, Judy. And the bracha is more anticipating the weariness that will come. Thank you. Anticipating the weariness and the tiredness that will set in. Sheitin kawach le'ayef ba'avodas hayom halech. Right. You're asking for strength for the tiredness that awaits during the day. Hamascheles nibokar yom. The day starts. When do I start building up towards my tiredness? In the morning. I might not be so tired in the morning. I just slept, but I know it's going to come. So we're asking Hashem, when it comes, please give me strength, which might explain why it comes at the end. I'm ready to go. If it was a bracha on the ability to wake up and no longer be tired, it should be at the front end of the blessings. If it's coming at the end, it must be because I'm ready to go. I've got my shoes on, I've got my belt on, I've got my hat on, I'm ready to go, and I know that today will bring tiredness. It will bring fatigue. Hanosin le'ev koach Hashem, I ask you to give me strength to get through the day. It's a nice idea. The only departure is that the other brachos are thanks for what has already come. Hashem, I am putting on my clothes, I'm putting on my belt, I'm putting on my hand, I'm stepping on firm ground. All of those blessings we are thankful for in the present moment. This blessing is anticipating what's happening in the future. I think that's probably the simplest understanding of this blessing. Hanosin lev koach Hashem, thank you for giving the tired and the weary strength. I know what the day is going to bring, and I thank you for the ability to get through it. So 3 different perspectives on this bracha. Rabbi Soloveitchik, koach gvura, internal strength versus physical prowess. Rabbi Schwab, a reference to the exile, uniquely Jewish. And lastly, the bracha of Anosim Le'ev Koach, according to Baruch Shamar, that it is simply an acknowledgement that the day will be long, the fatigue will absolutely come, and Hashem, thank you for giving me the strength to persevere through the long and grueling day. Sounds good? three perspectives on Hanosin Le'av Kavach. Okay, so let's move on now to this long blessing, which starts as follows: Birchat HaShchar IV Melech Olam, Hamavir Sheina Me'enai Utnuma Me'af Apai. So blessed are you, Hashem, our God, King of the universe, who removes sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyelids. So first question that should pop up in our heads, along lines that we were talking about before. If we're thinking about the chronology of what should come first, come second, third, and so on and so forth, where does this blessing belong? In the beginning. Hamavir Sheina Me'ena. Hashem, thank you for removing the slumber from my eyes. Now that can't be going on the slumber that's yet going to come, because we're talking about something that has already happened. You have removed already the slumber from my eyes. And then there is a long paragraph that continues. May it be your will, God, and the God of my forefathers, that you habituate me for Torah, you allow me to cling to your mitzvos, and you do not don't bring me to sin. We're going to break down all of these words in a little bit, but I want to give you just an overview. You won't bring me to sin. Nor to any test. Nor to any embarrassment. The evil inclination should not be able to rule over me. Keep me away from bad influences. Allow me to cling to the good influences. And allow me to be submissive to you. And you should grant kindness to me and bestow beneficent kindness upon all of us. Birchat HaShchar HaGomel Chasadim Tovim, God who bestows beneficent kindness Le'amo Yisrael, upon His people Israel. This is like a hodgepodge of different themes that are thrown into one long paragraph. We start off thanking God for removing the slumber from our eyes. And before we know it, we're thanking God for doing kind things and opening up us to Torah and keeping us away from bad influences. Like, what's going on over here? What's the relationship between removing slumber from our eyes and habituating ourselves for the good, keeping away from the bad influences? What does one thing have to do for the other? But just give me a minute. Not only that, more questions. I actually outlined 4 questions that Rabbi Schwab outlines in his beautiful commentary. Let me just go through the questions. Number 1, why do we wait till the end of the list of the blessings? Right? If this is a bracha on removing slumber from our eyes, so that should be in the very beginning. It should be right after the rooster crows and we're woken up. So we, rub our eyes. Oh boy, it's so early. Hamavir Sheina. Nowadays we wait until we get to the shul, but it's still, the list of the blessings generally goes through the actions we do in the morning as we do them. So the rooster crows, okay, that we thank Hashem for that, and then we move on to removing slumber from our eyes, right? For some of us, the slumber doesn't fully get removed until much later, until the first or second cup of coffee. But being in this cold room helps also. Okay, question number 2. What is the connection between the previous blessings that focus on Am Yisrael? The same thing. Let's go with Rabbi Schwab's analysis of Hanosin Le'av Kavach, that it's giving a blessing to Am Yisrael. We're thanking Hashem for giving us the perseverance to get through the exile. So we've got now 3 blessings that focus on the Jewish people. Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura, Oter Yisrael B'Sifara, and Hanosin Le'av Kavach, all focusing on Am Yisrael. And then we go back to removing slumber from our eyes. That's universal. So why are we transitioning from Jewish-oriented blessings to universal blessings? We've done those already. Question number 3. The beginning of the blessing does not line up with the end of the blessing. There's a general rule when it comes to blessings that the psicha and the chasima, the opening language and the closing language, I should say the themes, the opening theme and the closing theme has to be consistent. Blessings need to be rational streams of thought. So we can't start off thanking Hashem for apples and then finishing off with cookies. Those are 2 different groups of food. You have to be consistent. So over here we talk about slumber and then we talk about God doing good things to the Jewish people. What does one thing have to do with the other? Right? What's that phrase? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Right? Something along those lines? Right? Okay. So what does one thing have to do with the other? It's against the rules of blessings. And lastly, if you notice, the opening words are singular, possessive. Hama'avir sheina me'einai. Hashem, you remove the slumber from my eyes. And we finish off in the plural. Gomel chasadim tovim li'amo Yisrael. To the Jewish people as a whole. So 4 real questions on this blessing. When we rattle this blessing off every morning, we've never considered these are serious issues with the blessing. Let's just review the issues one more time. Why is this blessing placed at the end? What's the connection between the previous blessings that focus on the Jewish people? The opening and the closing themes do not align, and the singular to plural shift. We've got our work cut out for us. How are we to understand the nature of this blessing? So Rabbi Schwab has a very interesting take that I know, Jeff, you're already familiar with. So if you want to go grab a cup of coffee, I don't blame you. But Rabbi Schwab has a very interesting take regarding the essence of the meaning of this blessing. And he points out that if you look in source number 7, in the book of Genesis, in Birchat, in the very beginning, there is a slumber that descends upon all of mankind. Now I say all of mankind because in the beginning of Genesis, how many mankinds were there? There was just one kind, just one person, that's it. So mankind, the universe, falls asleep because there's just one person, easy to fall asleep. Right? You know that joke, right? That someone dies and he goes up to heaven, and as he's going up, he sees that in hell there's so much food, it's smorgasbords, and it's unbelievable. And he gets up to Shemayim, and there's just like a little bit of tuna and exile, that's it. I'm sure you've heard this joke before, right? And the guy gets up to Shemayim, and he's happy to be there. He's sitting down with the malach, the angel, he's having a little tuna and egg salad. He eats a little bit, and then he says to the angel, I don't want to complain, I'm happy to be here. But on my way up, I saw in hell, they had all this delicious food. There's piles and piles, tables and tables of smorgasbord, just exxon tuna. So the angel said, yeah, I know, but just me and you, for 2 people, it doesn't pay to cook. Okay, so just Adam. So Torah tells us as follows in source number 7. Vayapel Hashem Elokim tardema al ha'adam. That God makes Adam fall into a deep sleep. Vayishan, he was sleeping. Vayikach achas mitzalosav. It was the first surgery ever in mankind. God takes one of Adam's ribs. Vayiskor basar tachtan, and then he closes the flesh below him, and from that rib forms Chava. Right? That's actually Adam names his wife, calls her Isha, right? Ki mi ishlu kachar, something along those lines, that you were taken from me. So says Rav Schwab, if you look at this verse, clearly Adam falls into a deep sleep. It was it's very relaxing. We have the noxious gases when you're having dental work. So this is the first time it happened. Adam was enjoying. Says Rav Schwab, there is no verse that tells us that Adam woke up. What an interesting observation. There's no verse that tells us that Adam actually woke up. Never. So says Rabbi Schwab as follows, that when man was first placed in this world, he was extremely close with the Almighty, had a very, very close connection with the Ribbono Shel Olam. And that waned soon after he was created, and certainly after they ate from the Eitz Hadas, there was a precipitous fall, and there was a lot of distance between mankind and God. And that is the way the world operates as a general rule. There is distance, we are sleeping, we can't fully feel and see God's presence. But there are moments in history, specifically as they relate to Jewish history, where man is woken up, and man is able to perceive God in the clearest of ways. Birchat HaShchar, in this week's Torah portion, we're going to read that during Kriyas Yam Suf, the Jewish people say, Zeh keli ve'anveyu. It's almost literally the point. This is my God, and I will honor him, and I will glorify him. Zeh keli. The Medrash says that Ra Shifcha Shebiyam, that a maidservant saw when she was walking through the dry ocean floor, Mashalora ben Buzi, what Yecheskel couldn't see. So there are moments in Jewish history when we see with clarity God. Ma'amad Har Sinai, when we stood at Har Sinai, it was the same moment of clarity. So we wake up every so often and we see. It doesn't happen often, but there are moments of clarity. And Moshe Rabbeinu refers to this in source number 8 when he's giving his last charge to the Jewish people in the book of Deuteronomy and Sefer Devarim. This is chapter 4, Parak Dalid. Ata haresa ladas, you were shown to see, to know, ki Hashem hu ha'elokim ein od milvado, that God is the God and there's nobody else like Him. Him is not a particularly descriptive word when it comes to God, but it means there's no one else like the being of God. And Rashi says, in source number 9, Kishenasan HaKadosh Baruch Hu as HaTorah, when God gave us the Torah, Pasach Lahem Shiv'a Rikiyim, God opened up the 7 firmaments, the 7 heavens. V'kishem Shekara as Halyonim, just like God opened up the heavens, Kach Kara as HaTachtonim, so too God opened up the levels below. V'ra'u Shehu Yechidi, and the people had an appreciation that God is singular. L'kach ne'emar ata harisa ladas. That's why the verse is you were shown to see, to understand. It was something visible. Ata harisa, you saw. You saw that there was no other existence besides God's existence. So there was this moment of clarity. There was a awakening from our slumber. So interesting. We already begin to see where we're going with this. This is not a bracha simply about waking up from sleep, because if it is, it was misplaced. It should be much earlier. It's a bracha about having insight and moments of clarity when we perceive God, and that drives us to live the rest of our life with an understanding that there is a God, even if we don't feel it quite as intensely. So that's the bracha. Hamavir sheina me'enai. God, you remove the sleep from my eyes, utnuma mi'afapai, and slumber from my eyelids. We start off with the singular. Rabbi Shah doesn't exactly say this, but I would like to suggest that everybody has moments in their life when they see God, when they perceive God. So the bracha is actually thanking God for those moments which provide the inspiration for the day in and day out, even when God may seem distant. Hamavir sheina me'ena Hashem, you remove the slumber from my eyes, because I also have moments of inspiration when I feel close to the Almighty. Utnuma mi'afapai, and the slumber from my eyelids. And when do I feel those moments? When do I feel those moments? When I can perceive you, when I can feel you, when I can touch you. When do those moments come? Those moments come when we are sitting in shul and we're singing and we feel like we're connecting with something profound. When we're sitting in a class and we feel that the Torah is speaking to our soul in a way that it does not speak to through other experiences. You feel more spiritual when you learn Torah than you do when you see a good movie, as amazing as the movie might be. You feel like you're just connecting with something profound, sublime. So that's the connection between the first part of the bracha and the words that follow. Hamavir sheina me'enai. Hashem, thank you for removing the sleep from my eyes. I have moments of inspiration when I see you, when I feel close to you. V'hi ratzon, and may it be your will, God. Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu. What are we asking for right now? We're asking. It's a bracha. We're now asking Hashem, please grant us something. So what allows us to see? What is it that allows us to see? Torah. Being involved in Judaism. So what do we ask for right now? What is this bakasha? She targilenu b'sorasecha, that you habituate us, right? Hargil is a routine. You habituate us to study Torah. V'dabekenu b'mitzvosecha. You allow us to cling to your mitzvahs. Isn't this gorgeous? This is unbelievable. Isn't this a beautiful insight to this bracha? The transition is seamless if you understand the slumber that we speak of. Unbelievable. I wish more people were here just to have an appreciation for this bracha. Right? Shetagilena b'sarasecha. Hashem, don't bring me to sin. Rabbi Schwab points out that these 3 words, which all essentially mean sin, refer to sinning in more egregious ways. It's ascending. Chet is something done by mistake. inadvertent. Aveira is when you do something deliberate, but avon is when you're like malicious about it. So Hashem, don't allow me to sin by mistake. Don't allow me to become more comfortable with it that I'm actually sinning deliberately. And God forbid, please keep me away from avon. Keep me away from deliberate malicious sin. What exactly do we mean over here when we say, Hashem, don't bring me to sin? Does that mean that God is actually like forcing me to put the cheeseburger in my mouth? God forbid. What do those words mean? Al tivi'enu lo lidei chet. Don't bring me to sin. What exactly are we talking about over here? Don't bring me to sin?
Situation where
Right, so likely means situations where I could sin, right? Where the Gemara tells us that haba letaher misayinota. If a person comes to purify oneself, so Hashem assists you. He puts you in situations where you can become purified, where you become holy. Similarly, if a person wants to sin, God will never force you to sin, but He can put you in situations where you will be, you will find it easier to sin. The path that a person wants to take is the path that God leads you on. So we have over here a plea. Hashem, don't lead me on that path to sin. Axiomatic to our faith, God will never make you sin. But He can tempt you to sin. He can bring you in a situation where you're more likely to sin, and that would just make us sleep a lot longer, wouldn't it? Right? They would not open our eyes. And so we say, Hashem, please open our eyes to the Torah. Lead us away from the various levels of sin. Don't even tempt us. V'lo lidei nisayon. A nisayon is a test. Don't even bring us to a test. V'lo lidei bizayon. Nor to any shame. We don't want to feel shameful for any mistakes and any more egregious things that we do. V'al tashleit banu yetzer hara. And do not allow the yetzer hara to rule over us. Again, that's in our court. So that's not something God decides. But Hashem, give us the strength to avoid falling prey to the yetzer hara. Hashem, please keep us away from bad people, and what's even more insidious are bad friends, because with friends we allow our guard to go down. We assume that they're going to be telling us good advice and trying to lead us in the right direction, so we're more willing to follow the direction. So we say, Hashem, keep us away, me adam ra, from a bad person, easier to avoid because they're an adam, they're separate from us. But even a chaver, even a friend who we let close, we let our guard down, keep us away from the friends who are not going to be keeping us on the right path. V'dabakenu b'yetzer hatov, allow us to cling to the right desires, u'v'ma'asim tovim, and allow us to do good deeds. In source number 10, it's a little too late, so we're not going to read it inside, but the Ramban's analysis regarding Akedas Yitzchak. Remember, the Ramban asks, as many commentaries do, why did God feel the need to test Abraham? Right? If Hashem knows what's inside Abraham's heart, if Abraham can internally, if Abraham has abilities to sacrifice his son, God knows that. Why does God need to test Abraham? And the Ramban famously says, the point of a test is to take the innate abilities, the powers that we have, and to concretize them, to transform that which is latent potential into actualization. Latent potential, actualization. Yes, God knew what Abraham could do, but Hashem wanted to show Abraham what he was actually concretely capable of doing. And why does that come up right now? Because that's part of what we ask. V'dabekenu b'yetzer hatov. Hashem, allow me to cling to the good desires. But if it's just desires, so we know good intentions pave the road to not such a good place. So we're asking Hashem, v'dabekenu b'yetzer hatov, allow me to cling to my good desires, but allow that to actually bear fruits, uv'masim tovim. Let me actually do good things. It's not good enough just to want to do good. Allow me to actually do good. This is all part of how we rise in the morning, not literally the morning, but how we are able to get ourselves out of that slumber that we have been in since Adam went to sleep, essentially. And every time we connect to something greater, we have moments of clarity. That's when we wake up. And these are all these are all bakashos that allow us to see Hashem with more clarity, to feel the Almighty's presence. V'chof et yitzreinu l'shtabeh lach, Hashem, allow my desires to be submissive to you. Utneinenu hayom v'chol yom l'cheinu l'chesed rachamim beinecha uvonei kol ra'enu. Grant us today and every day grace, kindness, and mercy in your eyes, in the eyes of all who see us, and bestow beneficent kindness upon us. Birchat HaShchar Gomel Chasadim Tovim Le'amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Hashem, who bestows beneficent kindness upon His people Israel. So we transition from the singular to the plural, because along the way we're saying, Hashem, don't just allow me to have moments of clarity and inspiration, but allow the Jewish people as a whole to perceive you with more clarity, to wake up from that sleep, and essentially to inspire the rest of the world to follow in your ways. And that's the way you understand this bracha in context of the Birchat HaShchar, why it's placed at the end, because this is essentially a Jewish-oriented bracha. It's not a universalistic bracha, it's a Jewish-oriented bracha. So it comes at the end on the heels of all of the other blessings, which are also related to Am Yisrael as a whole. And that's why all the questions that we started with, now read beautifully. We have answers to all of them. Let's just go through them and then we'll conclude. Number one, why do we wait till the end to list the blessing? Because it comes at the end. It's not a bracha on waking up. It's a bracha on seeing God, the moments of clarity. What is the connection between the previous blessings that focus on Am Yisrael? Because this is also Am Yisrael related. We see Matan Torah. We see the Ribbono Shel Olam. So it is related to Am Yisrael. The beginning of the blessing does not line up with the ending. It certainly does. The bracha of Hamavir Shena is not a blessing on physical sleep. It's a blessing on the clarity of seeing God. God's helping us to feel close to Him. The front of the bracha and the back of the bracha are very much related, and the transition from the singular to the plural is because we first start focusing on moments in our own personal lives, and then we globalize it. We say, no, Hashem, we want for all of Am Yisrael to be the recipients of your kindness, to allow us to cling to you, to see you, to live inspired lives as inspired Jews. Okay, I think we have actually finished Birchat HaShchar, and with Hashem's help, we will continue next week. I am toying with the next steps of this class. What I mean by that is I'm not sure if I want to go line by line through the Siddur, because I think that would first of all take us a number of years to do, which I am not opposed to, but I think it might be more effective if we try to pick a couple of highlights in Tefillah, which will also take us up a number of years to do. Maybe we'll do like maybe we'll do one class on Karbanos, then we'll do Baruch Shemar, maybe Ashrei, Kriyat Shema, Shemon Esrei. I mean, this would still take us years. But instead of going line by line, maybe focusing on the highlights of the Siddur to empower us to find our prayer to be all that more meaningful. We'll stop here.